I sighed again. My mom died last week, and my uncle brought me home with him after the funeral. He only enrolled me on Friday. Her expression softened a bit as she asked about my father. I don't know who my father is. She shook her head and asked why my uncle hadn't taken me to school on my first day. Please, I said, rolling my eyes just a bit. 13-year-olds don't need anyone showing up with them on their first day like they were in kindergarten or something. I'd have been laughed out of 8th grade. Besides, he usually works out of town. He left for Superior early this morning, so he'd have time to have his station set up by 8. This time I didn't wait for her to ask. I hurried on to explain. He's a college recruiter. He goes to different high schools to explain all the good things about going to college here. And no, he doesn't leave me alone while he's gone. Although he could. My mother did, lots of times. Bridget has the apartment next to his. He hired her to look after me when he's gone. It's just that I can't remember her last name. It's French. So is her first name, I guess, but I've met so many strangers since my mother died that I gave up trying to remember all their names. Uncle Damien said he was going to get me a cell phone. I could keep people's names and information stored on it, but he didn't have time to do that yet. Judy was nicer after that. She showed me how to clean and sanitize the kennel cages and dog dishes. I spent the rest of the day doing whatever she told me. Sometimes I thought a few of the dogs were talking to me, but it may have been my imagination. I didn't have much time to think about it. Judy kept me busy until it was time for school to let out. She said I could go home then. I had to ask her for directions to the school. After explaining that I only knew my way home from there, she gave me detailed instructions. She urged me to spend the rest of my suspension from school working down my community service hours and touring the jail. She suggested I do the jail tour in the morning before coming to the shelter to clean the cages, rather than after I finished my shelter work for the day. I understood why when I got home. Bridget took one whiff of me and sent me off to shower. No questions about my first day at school or if I had homework. By the time I'd scrubbed myself raw twice and changed into clean clothes, she had dinner almost ready. She pointed at the washing machine, and I knew I wouldn't be served until my clothes were in there being washed and hopefully deodorized. After we finished eating, she had me help her with the dishes. Then she'd picked up the book she'd been reading when I came home and returned to her apartment. She reminded me that she'd be back to give me breakfast in the morning, and her bedroom was on the other side of the wall from mine. I was to rap on it if I needed her. And then she was gone. There'd been no mention of any events of my day, so maybe she didn't know. She hadn't mentioned talking to my uncle either. It looked like I'd have to wait until he came home on Friday to find out what he knew and what he would do about it. After Bridget left, I looked up the address of the police station. I thought I'd take Judy's advice and get the jail tour over with. Besides, police stations were open 24/7. I didn't know when animal shelters opened. I wanted to leave the house at the same time I would if I was going to school. If Bridget didn't know anything, maybe she wouldn't get suspicious and start asking me questions. I'd heard enough questions, thank you very much, and I didn't want to face answering more. Once I had the address and directions written down, I tried to watch some television, but everything that had happened that day must have worn me out. I was dog-tired, literally, and just wanted to go to sleep.